Hey guys, I'm going to be going to Chaotic Darkness and doing a light element team. So this is the team we're going to use. We're going to be going to turn 9 and killing the boss. There is a little bit of RNG involved in this clear. And also, just forewarning, I'm using a large amount of limited items. If you don't have all these limited items, maybe my water team clear will be better for you. But we're going to start Venera in the shift form, and then we're going to Eccentric on turn 1. Aerith on turn 1 is going to bounce, protect, and shell +2. We've got Reflect from the Reflect Ring. There's one of the limited items that I mentioned. And again, this is not required to have all this. We're going to go ahead and Refragmentation and Blessing of the Azure with Elena. But yeah, things like using the Reflect Ring just to make the convenience factor of bouncing buffs on the boss is not required, but it is convenient and helpful. We're going to go ahead and Rally and Cry. Yeah, so here's a little bit of RNG. If the boss does single target provoke ignoring attacks on someone like Sephiroth who's not resisting right now, that would have been a game over. But he didn't, so that was fine. And if anyone got status effect, Nyx did. We're going to go ahead and Panacea that with Venera. Alright, now Tifa in the base form is going to triple Star Dust Ray. Elena is going to use another limited item, Exercise Jade from the Jade Pendant. That's going to give us status immunity. Sephiroth is going to go to the base form and then use triple Stardust Ray. And now that Tifa and Sephiroth are in the base form, they're wearing resistance gear. So we don't need to worry about the RNG of who the boss targets anymore. Some of his attacks ignore provoke is the problem. Nyx is going to use Gusty Attack. That's from a trial to give him Stardust Array frames. And then we're going to use Quad Cast Tagging on Aerith and send everyone. And that's going to give us the 100-point chain score because we're not chaining to 100 on the kill round. And if I'm going a little bit too quickly and picking the skills, you can either pause the video or you can look at the turn chart that I'll be posting in the comments that outlines what I'm doing every single turn of this fight. Alright, so on turn 3, Venera will just go ahead and refresh Eccentric, which is kind of optional. We don't even really need that technically. Elena is just going to refresh Jade Pendant. We're going to Rally and Cry with Aerith and Nyx. And we're going to Nethicite with Sephiroth and Tifa. You don't actually need Nethicite on these turns. I'm just doing this to give them something to do so they don't guard. We don't want to guard the units because that'll remove their stacks. And at this point, everyone is immune to the damage from resistance gear and stuff. Venera is going to sing Zidane's STMR song, and then the rest of the party is just going to repeat. Yeah, at this point, we're mostly just waiting for turn 9 now. That's going to be our kill turn. We're immune to everything from the status immunity buff and the resistance buff and all that. Now on turn 5, we're going to use Tifa to do her base form LB, which is going to put up a 125 Water Imperil, and it'll still be up on the kill turn. Alright. More attacks that we don't really care about. Alright, on this turn, Aerith is going to quad cast. We're going to do Shell, Protect, Protect again, and then Wish to save the planet for the Rod Imperil. That's going to refresh the buffs on the boss, and again, they're bouncing off the Reflect Ring. That allows Sephiroth to do his base form LB and do a 125 Dark Imperil. And again, this is just a convenience factor and a safety factor of bouncing buffs onto the boss. Like, the boss is still at 97%. You might not even need Reflect and Shell on the boss to bulk him up. So, if you don't have Reflect Ring, it's probably fine. Honestly, I don't entirely know, just to be completely honest here. You could also use Reflect from, Nyx on Carbuncle to do it. Anyway, Tifa is going to Magnus on this turn. On this turn, Elena is going to refresh Refragmentation and Blessing. And then Nyx will just do Rally and Cry. And again, Rally and Cry is just a convenience thing. It fills LB quicker. If you don't have the line emblems for Rally and Cry, it's not a requirement. But you might have to rely on some RNG luck for drops. Alright, so we're going to Magnus on Sephiroth. We're going to use Tifa to Jade Pendant for the status immunity. And if you don't have the Jade Pendants, you can do things like Panacea to cure debuffs. You could do things like immunity buffs from Lakshmi and all that. Jade Pendant is just a super, super convenient way to do it. We're going to shift Nyx on this turn, and we're going to do his shifted LB for the field. We're going to do the shifted LB of Elena for the killer buffs, their AoE. And then Aerith can just, rallying cry, whatever. We don't going to need rallying cry, but it does just fill up. It gives her something to do, basically. Alright, turn 8. So turn 8, we're going to go to the base form with Elena. And she's going to Piercing Prism, Crystal Refraction, and Aquatic Innervation. Aerith will go to the base form and do her base form LB for the Amplify, Imbue, etc. We're going to Nethicite with Tifa and Sephiroth this turn. And we're going to summon Carbuncle for the AoE Reflect. Alright, so we're going to use Nethicite in case the boss does Wardaga or Dartga. That way we don't get Reflect consumed. If the boss does Bioga on this turn, it's basically game over. We have to retreat. For some reason, Bioga is glitched and it is removing Reflect even if you Nethicite it. So RNG here, 1 in 3 chance. If the boss does Bioga, this turn is over. This fight is over. He did Wardaga, we're good. Yeah. So it's a 33% chance that you just waste your run because the boss is using a glitchy spell. Anyway, now it is the kill turn. The ST Marsong is done. Venera is going to Marauder's Blade. That's going to remove the Protect and Shell from the boss. If you're not using Venera and don't have a perfect spell, then you definitely don't want the boss to have Protect and Shell. But we do have Venera, so we use Marauder's Blade. That does a 90% defense break, and it removes all those buffs. So now the boss has Fist in Peril, Rod in Peril, Katana in Peril, Sword in Peril, and then a good Water in Peril, good Dark in Peril, a good Light in Peril from Elena, the cooldown we did. He's got also a Field imperiling his light resist even more from Nyx, and then an 85% Spirit Break from Venera. Alright, so Tifa is going to shift here and do her shifted LB, which is stacked up. So is Sephiroth. Elena is going to triple. We're going to do double Salvation and then Piercing Prism. Now, Nyx, if you wanted to do more damage, you could use his LB here to chain with Elena. It gives me so much trouble. I'm having problems chaining Nyx's LB properly, so I'm just not even bothering. I'm just going to use Nyx's Bolting Strike, and he's going to do basically no damage because of that. But for me, the convenience of just not dealing with Nyx's timing is worth it. And then Aerith is going to reflect Holy, because here comes even more headache. So we're going to be bouncing Holy off our party, and we need the Holy to cap on the last hit of this chain. So we're looking for a 67-point chain. If that happened, if we get a 67-point chain, then we're good. If we don't get a 67 hit chain, we messed up the timing. I recommend you practice on the training dummy for hours and hours and hours, because this is miserable to finally get a timing that works for you. But I did it, and this is going to be hopefully a proper cap. So here we go. We're looking for a 67 hit chain. And we didn't get it because this game is miserable. Let me restart the turn and try again. Be right back. Alright guys, we are just doing that turn again because I love Holy. I love Holy and I hate Aerith. I hate Aerith so much because timing that stupid Holy is the worst, but it's got to be done for the damage. And after that, we got to fight Variance too, so yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and go for attack. So we're going to try this again. Let's see here. We're looking for that Holy to cap right at the end with a 67 hit chain. We did it. We did it. Please give me big damage. Sephiroth, Tifa, roll high variance. Let's go. 5.2? Are you kidding? I have never done that high. Oh my god, variance. Who did what on that clear? Sephiroth, he has been doing like 1.8. He just hit the perfect variant, and Tifa did bad variant. Of course, Tifa did a low roll on the turn. Sephiroth did a god roll. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why couldn't Tifa have given me a good... Tifa's been doing like 1.8, 1.9. She does a 1.5 on the turn. Sephiroth does 2.6. Sephiroth's been doing like 2.0, 2.1. And he does 2.6. This game in variance. Oh my god. I'm gonna, just for the fun of it, I'm gonna run that one more time, and we'll just see if a better variant roll changes anything. I'm ranked 63 from that. It's like this is almost over. Insane. I'm gonna run that again. If Tifa would have rolled high that turn, oh, I would have been in the top 50, I bet. Why did Tifa roll back? I'm gonna run that again, and I'll just fast forward straight to the kill turn. See you in a moment. Alright guys, I've rerun the fight, and we're back on the final turn. And as before, I am fighting this timing with Holy. It is so inconsistent, it drives me up a wall. I hate Holy. I hate Holy so much, but it's so strong, it's got to be used. Oh, it's miserable. And I really want to fight Nyx's LB too, the timing on that, because Nyx's LB is so much more damage than his worthless chaining, but nope. Let's see, and let's go with this, and let's see. 67-point chain, no breaks, come on. 67-point chain, alright. Okay, so I'm not going to bother keep rerunning after this, at least not today, maybe on Wednesday or something. Oh, 4.6, yeah. As you see, variance is massively swinging in both directions. That previous run was huge, good variance. This time was, yeah, Tifa did the exact same, so shame on her. And Sephiroth went from 2.6 to 2.0. Freaking variance, and even Aerith did worse. Okay, well, whatever. So I'll go ahead and yeah, way worse. I'll go ahead and show the team and explain what was just going on. Okay, so let me actually open my turn chart that I'd closed so I can reference it so I know, reminder, what I built. Okay, so here's the team we did. And you know, Tifa and Sephiroth were both double hand units. Tifa is technically not a double hand unit, but in my clear, she is a double hand unit. So yeah, so big variance both ways. She actually got the same roll, both clears, but she's been swinging very heavily both directions as well with variance. So if you're trying to chase that high score, you just rerun it over and over and over until you get both your DPS hitting that high variance roll, and then that's what the people in the top 20 are lucky enough to have gotten. I have not gotten that yet. Anyway, so we're a Holy Element team with Aerith to buff us up. This is the team we used. I mentioned at the start of the video, this team is using large amounts of limited gear, some of which doesn't really have a good replacement, like the Jade Moon Pendant. That's probably the biggest one, is the Jade Moon Pendant. There's no great way to get status immunity on your party without the Jade Moon Pendant. You can do things like Lakshmi Synergy and just pray for RNG to proc every turn. That's obviously way less efficient. But if you have it, this team will work for you. Anyway, Venera was kind of important as well. She's a 90% defense break, and until Locke has enough crowns on global, she is the only source of that kind of defense break. So if you don't have Venera, you can sub her out for Sky or Cacteria or something, and they'll do an 87% defense break, which is a whole lot weaker, but it's better than nothing. It's better than 85 because the boss has low passive stats. Nyx is there just for the light Imperil field. Based on calculations, that is bringing more to the party than other units would have been doing, because it boosts up Aerith's damage a lot. It also boosts up Tifa and Sephiroth because we're mixing elements. Elena is for the human and demon killer. That's basically it for the most part, honestly. She also does a 130 light in peril, which is, obviously good. That stacks with Nyx's field. Tifa and Sephiroth, no brainer. They're the strongest units on the game right now on global, and so they're just obviously here. And then Aerith for the support. So here is the team we did. We started in the shift form for Venera, so she gets the auto buff from Reflect Ring and auto LB for Call of the Wild, which allows her to sing the I wanted to go. Actually, we didn't even need the auto Call of the Wild. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, that's right, because originally I was going to kill on turn 6, but that turned out to be too tight on timing, so I extended it to the turn 8. She's actually not singing on turn 1 anymore. Anyway, she is the passive provoke evader for turn 1, because Sephiroth is shifted on turn 1. We need someone else to provoke. So full evasion, passive provoke. The whole party has 75 or better to water and dark resist. We're using a 100% buff from Elena. So 75 water, 75 dark, along with Elena's buff, makes us immune to all the damage. We don't need status immunity because we're using Jade Moon on turn 2 and above, and then we use Riku's Pouch to panacea any statuses applied on turn 1. So here's the gear: passive provoke, full evasion. She gears for evasion very easily. Venera's got really high evade naturally. So there we go. And she was the provoker on turn 1. Make sure she's lower in the party order than Sephiroth. That way, when Sephiroth does go to the or whoever's your secondary provoker, that way when they go to the base form, their passive provoke takes priority because they're higher in the party order. In other words, they're further left in the party than Venera, because once Venera starts singing Zidane's song, it turns off evasion, and you do not want her provoking while she's singing. Sephiroth in the base form was my also evade provoker. So full evasion, passive provoke, 75 or better to water and dark resist. You also want to give him some auto limit so he gets his LB ready to go by turn 6 for the 125 dark imperil that his base form LB does, and we kind of need that for all the damage possible. So there's the gear he's using. We also gave him Nethicite so he can absorb some spells on turn 8, so the boss doesn't use spells to eat up our reflect. So there's his setup. And then shift form is big boy damage. As you saw, he was the strongest damage dealer on my clear. He is not using any resist in the shift form. He only is in the shift form on turn 1 and then the kill turn. So on turn 1, if he is chosen for the provoke ignoring attack that the boss sometimes does on turn 1 and gets hit, reset the fight. Just retreat, come back in. Thankfully, it's only on turn 1. You got to worry about that. So yeah, anyway, full damage, LB damage, chain cap increase, etc. 7,500 attack, maxed human, maxed demon, and only 280 LB damage, unfortunately, but it's good enough. Let's go ahead and jump to Tifa real quick. Tifa, base form, Jade Moon Pendant, so she can do status immunity for the party. Again, if you don't have that, there are ways around it. That is just by far the most efficient way to deal with the statuses on this fight. 75 or better, water and dark resist. No one else needs evasion, so we're good there. And again, just like Sephiroth, give her some auto limit, so her LB is good to go by she does hers on turn 5. So we can get the base form LB, and the reason for that is the 125 water imperil on the base form LB. Nethicite as well to absorb some spells on turn 8, and then give some Esper Fill to the party. We need to get Carbuncle ready by turn 8, which is very easy, like 1 Behemoth Synergy, and it'll be good by turn 8, so you're good there. Shift form, damage. I geared her for double hand for the extra variance, which makes variance even more of a nightmare, but it also gives you the chance for higher damage. So it can do more damage by using a double hand with Tifa. So, and again, same as Sephiroth, on turn 1 she shifted. The only turn is turn 1 she shifted. And she does not, if she gets hit on turn 1, just retreat and come back. So that's the only RNG with that. So she's got double hand, fist build. Here's the gear, chain cap increase, and we've got maxed LB, maxed human, 225 demon. And there we go. Once we get the chain cap helm, I can make her 6 times chain cap with double hand, and she'll be really good. But we don't have that yet. Anyway, there was her build. She was the secondary DPS. All right, let's go back to Aerith. We stayed in this shift form for the most part of the fight. Lion Emblem gives you something to do to help fill LB gauge for some turns. She's got 75 or better water and dark resist. Shift form, lots of mana regen, lots of mana reduction. That way, she goes into the kill turn at max MP, so she does more damage. So there you go. And then base form, we're using a rod because we're rod imperiling. High spirit, high MP, killers against human and undead. We've got water and dark resist in the base form as well. So here is the build she's using. This is where we're getting our resistances from. Yoshikiri's card, and then she's got 275 demon, 225 human, and she reflected holy and did 1 billion damage. Elena in the shift form is just, whatever. Water and dark resist. We gave her a copy of Jade Moon Pendant as well. You definitely do not need 2 copies. 2 copies just made it, again, more flexible on the turn counts. If you only have 1 copy, you can adjust like the turns. Like looking at my chart, like Tifa could have done the Jade Moons by herself, but having two people do it is just more convenient. So other than that, some LB fill, a little bit of Esper fill, and then base form geared for damage. And again, still has 75 or better water and dark resist. Just a double hand build built for damage against demons and humans. There we go. And she imbued herself with water, so we can double element chain water and holy with the Nyx to build the chain faster. It also chains faster with Tifa, just to get Tifa's damage cap quicker. Max human, max demon, and she's got the chain cap increase as well. Then Nyx in the base form is just geared. He's dual wielding with gusty attack. This gives him a Stardust Raid chain frame in the base form, which allows him to chain with Sephiroth and Tifa and Aerith to get that 100 point chain count score. We also gave him Lion Emblem, again, just to fill LB gauge, a little bit easier. Water and dark resist. He's also on Carbuncle to summon Carbuncle later in the fight. Keep in mind that does lower your dark resist. You need lots of dark resist to overcome that. Shift form is geared for, and again, if you're willing to fight the headache of making his LB proper chain with Elena, it can work. It does work. It's just more of a headache than his actual regular chain because it's got a slight offset on timing. His LB is more damage, so gear him for LB damage if you're willing to fight that battle. I tried it. It kept breaking. I said, screw it. I went to just regular old chaining, which means he dealt basically no damage in my clear. But I gave him a water weapon so he could chain with Tifa and Elena and build the chain quicker. So it's mostly for Tifa to build the chain quicker. So more of Tifa's LB hits are at the max chain modifier quicker. Other than that, 75 or better water and dark. And then he's got some killers against humans and demon. He's got 250 human, 125 demon, and we didn't do his LB. So that was the party, and I will post the turn count or turn chart in the comments. Okay, if you've got all the equipment, gear, and units for this setup, then hopefully it gives you a high score. Just do me a favor, anyone using this video, don't get in the top 62 ranks because you're gonna push me down, and that's not cool. I'm kidding. I really don't mind. It's fine. I will see you guys later.